Hey, Tuko Riada, welcome for another week, another episode with your host. I appreciate you guys. It's been a long weekend. I'm recovering from a weekend of duties, giving service to the sport of soccer, football, as they call it globally. I might look exhausted, I might sound exhausted, but I'm not exhausted for you subscribers, you viewers, and you likers. Because the weekend was full of action. If you were into sports, it was packed. Every channel you went to was things were happening, including Premier League. And the Chelsea Blues didn't have their scoring boots. We could dominate position. We couldn't just crack the Crystal Palace defense. They gave us a game as expected. 0-0 is not something you lower your head with it or you walk around miserable. Arsenal, they put more misery in Manchester United in whatever that place was they were playing. Where were they? MU was hosting Arsenal. Go Gunners! Yeah, it was a game of missed chances or just a game of attrition, and that's where you have it. So Arsenal and Manchester United, there you have it. And of course, the Blues fail. That's sports on another arena. But I want to go back to Poland because I don't think I have an opportunity this weekend or time to really focus on one of the most excellent nights in Silesia, Poland, where it was just magnificent. The results, the times, the heights, the pace on the field and track and field there was phenomenal. I just gave a little bit of my snippets. It was fragmented all over the place. I was going to just give myself what I call holistic outlook of what I saw in Silesia, Poland, because that's where I thought the stadium, the crowd, the weather was a factor. If you see people in the stadiums fanning themselves, you know it's hot. I think it was 80 degrees Fahrenheit or something more than that. And it wasn't favoring distance running, but that slowed down some athletes. Because if we really unpack what really happened, it turned out to be the night of women. I'll just declare that. The women rose up to the occasion. It was a night where I can say the power of the womanhood was showcased at the highest level. If we are being honest about the performance of women this year, as people who look at sports, sometimes we don't appreciate. But for me, what I've noticed is that because of this day and age whereby we are always looking for clicks, we fail to look at the whole and look at Silesia, Poland, this Saturday where I thought women lived up to what they are capable. Let me give you what I thought were the top 8 performers by women. I'll just be very as quick as possible. Tell me whether you agree with me or not, because this turned out, I declare this in Tukoriada, it was a night of women in track and field. Hands down, performance-wise, they were supreme and superb. Let me give you something about Captain Faith Kipyegon. I talked about it a little bit. I mentioned the time she ran. But I think we have to pause and really reflect on what it is she did. Not only she ran 8:07, not only was she 1 second away from the world record held by Wang Yongzhia from 1983. And by 1993, pardon me, 1993 as a cloud with Chinese athletes. I've talked about it when 8:11 was ran by British Chebet in Rabat. I mentioned how there's a lot of asterisks, a lot of questions on the authenticity and whether the Chinese group of athletes were under some things that were not permissible in the athletic family. There's a lot of that because they came of age and just disappeared. They broke the 10,000 world record, 5,000, 3,000, 15, and it was just like gone. Nobody could follow that, and it leaves us asking questions. Is 8:06 in 3,000 meters for women legit? That's the question I asked when British Chebet ran 8:11. Was that the world record then? Now here we come with the 8:07. 8:07 with Faith Kipyegon. If things were open and transparent as it is right now, if we were very true to our investigation, I would say this 8:07 is as legit as we can see right now, because this woman, not only has she done this at the highest level. First of all, let's just appreciate Faith for who she is. Nobody has ever ran 1500 meters gold medal back to back in the Olympics. Give her that. She's a mile record holder, 4.7. No, 4.6, not 4.7. Is it 4? It's 4.7, right? 4, whatever that record was she ran before that attempt on 4 flat. She owns that record. She has the 15, as I said. This 3K, personally, as biased as I can be, I think it should be for Faith Kipyegon, given the body of work and how long she's been on in this kind of performance and the level she's delivered. Because one thing you have to say is the sheer dominance in that race, the margin of win, the gap, the superiority of Faith Kipyegon in this race, it was spectacular. It was something that we might not see for a while. I would say this. Can you imagine if you had British Chebet in that race? Can you imagine if you had Guday in that 3K? That quality, that caliber of athletes in one event, and we were looking for a record. Could it have gone down? Possibly. Because sometimes when you have to do it by yourself, which she did. But if you notice that 3K, let me just slow down a little bit. I think I'm running ahead of myself. From the gun, it was quite obvious that it was going to be Jessica Howell, the Australian, the silver medalist, 1500 meters, whom I have to say did an incredible work to the 2K. 5:25 was just beautiful. To sacrifice herself, she's a legit runner. She's somebody who should be racing for something herself. But she sacrificed that just to give Faith Kipyegon this kind of opportunity to shine and to dominate that event. To me, I respect that. 5:25 at 2K. The last 2 laps, it was 66. I think the last lap was 63 seconds. I think something was lost in the last, maybe the penultimate lap, where they slowed down a little bit, because I think it was a 68 somewhere. And that happens too because there's no competition at all. You are by yourself, and that can take a toll. But overall, you have to say Faith Kipyegon, with this kind of performance, 8:07, should be the world record. But again, who am I? World Athletics has to ask themselves these questions. Did we drop the ball when the Chinese women were dominating in 93? But as we live right now, in this day and era, that was spectacular. Enjoy that. More than enjoying it is to hear what she says post-race. I like the American audience has a way of doing interviews, and I understand that. The vibe, the narrative, the way they interview athletes. So Faith Kipyegon had a moment to be interviewed by American audience and I saw it on YouTube. The first question people always ask is, so how are you going to celebrate this kind of time that you ran? How, you expect people to say, I'm going to go out party, but there's something about discipline that you've seen with Faith Kipyegon. That's why she's a captain. She's focused. She knows her legacy is being cemented and being built and being made to look as great as it is. This is how she responded. Tokyo is coming up. We have to go to the drawing board and plan on how I'm going to win my 1500 meters event in Tokyo. That is discipline and focus, my friend. It's no time to party between now and Tokyo. Maybe you can party when you've retired. That's what she's almost saying, or during off season. That was very telling. And I've never seen such a sober response from an athlete. I think maybe that's why she's not only that, that really reflects on the fact that she's a grounded mother, an ambassador, and a professional. There you have it. Let me give you a second event that cements this as being one of the ladies' night in Silesia. Femke Bol, unbeaten in 400 meters, 51.9. World lead time in this season. Mid record in this time of the calendar. No competition whatsoever. Femke Bol, the Dutch, is the woman to beat going to the World Championship. Whether there's competition or no competition. This is sheer dominance, and she's setting the stage for what will be one of the best 400 meters runner we can see going in the World Championship. Because you know what? You just race in your lane. People are either in their lanes or not, and she continues to do that. Another woman, Russell in 100 meters hurdles. Let me tell you what happened. I was checking what she did. Not only does she run the fastest time of the year and the meet record, 12:19. She is the second best woman in the 100 hurdles with a 12:17, and now she runs 12:19. The world record is at 12:12 by Tubi Amusan of Nigeria. If you understand why I'm telling you this was a women's night in Russell, in our Silesia, is what these times are telling us. Women are running faster, they are consistent, and whenever they step on the track, they're either smashing some record or making the night to remember. And this night was no exception. Russell does that. Another woman, I'll give you another heads up. Keely Hodgkinson, the Brit, gold medalist coming out of Paris. A lot of injuries since then. Her first debut in the 800, she ran was 1:54.74, the best time in the world, ahead of Lilian Odira, the Kenyan, in 1:56.52. That is affirming why she's a golden girl from Britain in Olympics. She vindicates why she is, and she's truly the woman again to beat in the World Championship. I'm just making a case for her because you can tell one thing about coming out of injury. When you're coming out of injuries and your first race, you run the best time in the world now, and the gap of winning it. I don't care about the competition. I care about the time. She runs a good time in this event. Another woman. Another one is for you to remember is Guday, the 8th fastest time ever in 1500 meters, 3:50.62. Great running, naive running. Let me tell you why I say naive. I'll give it a caveat. If Sergei Guday could discipline herself in the early stages of the race, in that race, she ran 1:59 for 800 meters. She pays the price at the end because she was pretty much in pain, you can tell in her face. If she had gone like 2 flat, 2:02, 2:03, maybe that record of 3:48 could have been in danger. But again, she faced at the end, and the fast closing woman was British Chebet in 3:54, ahead of Hunter Bell, Georgia, of Britain. Something for Sergei to remember, because when it comes to front running, I've noticed one thing about her: she's not that good, and if the gap is not that wide, anybody can close down on her, and she seems to feel the pressure. But she runs a 3:50.62, 8th fastest time ever. Another event for you guys to put in their record is Melissa-Jefferson Wooden, 100 meters, 10:66, ahead of Tina Clayton in 10:82. Tia, because the Tina and Tia, they are sisters. So I say Tia Clayton, the Jamaican. 10:66, she's only 1 second slower than her best time of 10:65 in the world this year. Let me tell you why I give her flowers in this night of women. Is because I think we focus so much on flamboyancy, drama, Shakira Richardson being the cameras on her. You have Jennifer, you have Melissa-Jefferson, who is very subdued, laid back, just a performer. We don't really give her flowers. But as we speak right now, 10:66 was another show of why she's the best in the world at the moment. Like I keep saying this, going the World Championship, these kind of times, I'm to send a signal in the sprinting world that she ain't no pushover. And I can tell you, Julian Alfred has our work cut out as we speak. Another night in Silesia, another performance, incredible performance by a woman. Marilyn Day Paulino, the Dominican, reins in or runs down Salwa Eid Nassar of Bahrain in 49:18 in the 400 meters. To second place, Salwa in 49:27. Paulino, the Dominican, dominates another event in the 400 meters. Meet record, one of the fastest times we are looking at this year. Another woman, another great performance in Silesia. I'll wrap up by saying the top woman again here was Ukrainian Yaroslava in the high jump. She clears 2 meters in high jump. It's another meet record in Silesia. One of the best jumps this year as we speak in track in the field events. I made my case, my audience. I hope I did. 8 events were women. Not only they break the meet records, they ran the best times in the world, or they came close to world records, like I say in Faith. It was truly in Poland, in Silesia, this Saturday that the women are telling us it was their night. In Tukoriada, zoomed in, paid attention, and gave them what they deserve. Truly, I celebrate these women for what they are doing. We have more to come. Wednesday, guess where we are? We are in Switzerland. I won't tell you where, but we are somewhere in those, is it cheesy, hilly land of Switzerland? I'll talk about it in my next episode. Keep subscribing, my man, because Tukoriada zooms in and gives you maybe what you didn't see in another night in Silesia, Poland. Ciao, my friend.